I want to start with the FBI search at Mar-a-Lago. What do we know about Trump's financial history and business dealings that is making all of this so concerning to you?
Well, Donald doesn't know anything about nuclear power. He couldn't explain to you the difference between an atomic bomb and a hydrogen bomb. And he clearly doesn't know anything about intelligence. But the documents he has, foreign governments that are hostile to the United States would pay a lot of money to see these documents. These are documents that could tell about our nuclear capabilities and weaknesses. They could tell about sources and methods of intelligence gathering, including, even if they were just hints at identifying people who are effectively spies or agents helping the United States gather intelligence about these other countries. And Donald would have, frankly, no shame whatsoever about taking money for these things. He was, after all, for years involved up to his eyeballs with a major international cocaine trafficker for whom he did extraordinary favors. That's all in the public record. It's all laid out in The Making of Donald Trump that came out 6 years ago. So I think the concern is, did Donald intend, or worse, seek to profit from these documents that otherwise would be meaningless to him as an individual?
It is, of course, one question in a series of questions. But speaking of sort of the lack of shame, Trump's Save America PAC sent a fundraising email urging people to stand with Trump during this time. A fundraising email in this moment. Really just no opportunity wasted to raise money.
It's exactly right. I mean, Donald's father, who was himself a big cheat, ripped off the taxpayers in a single deal for around $40 million in today's money, taught him that all that matters is that you get the money. And then his second father, the notorious Roy Cohn, taught him how to evade responsibility, always attack law enforcement, always deny, never give an inch, even if they've got you cold. And that's all served Trump very well up until now.
Yeah. One of the other big stories this week, you had Trump pleading the fifth more than 400 times in his deposition with the New York AG. He is within his right to plead the fifth. This is a civil case. Would there be a legitimate reason, given what you know about Trump's business dealings, especially considering the relationship of this civil case to other criminal investigations?
Oh, absolutely. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I've taught law for many years at Syracuse University's College of Law. And I would advise Donald, if he was still talking to me, that you should take the fifth, because the only penalty he'll face in the civil proceeding potentially is a jury could be instructed, because it's a civil case, that you can draw an adverse inference from his refusal to answer questions. But Donald answering questions could expose himself to further criminal liability. And Donald has a long history, Alicia, under oath, when some good interrogator gets under his skin, of saying things that are very self-damaging. He doesn't even realize they're self-damaging. So there's no loss for him except the speculative one by taking the Fifth Amendment. And of course, the complete turnaround where he has done this now after saying only criminals and mobsters do this, that isn't going to bother Donald for a second. Donald creates his own reality. And so whatever he's doing at the moment, that's perfectly okay. That's the right thing to do. I mean, after all, this is a man who calls himself a Christian. And when asked, well, when did you last ask God for forgiveness, which all Christians do continually if they're truly faithful, he said, well, never in my life. Well, why would I? I've never done anything that requires forgiveness.